Hello, greetings, and welcome in everyone to another edition of the Now We Know podcast. And I'm very, very lucky and fortunate to have Andrew Franks from Boss Fight Studio taking some time out of his very busy pre-Toy Fair schedule to come and talk to us about some new Fraggles and some other great things. So, Andrew, thanks for taking the time to chat with us again.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Always enjoy it.
Well, I know you're busy with things, and there's a lot that we'll get to in terms of stuff getting ready to come out and whatnot. But since you and I obviously look like two guys who will just like jump up to dance our cares away at like the drop of a hat, I figured now's a great time to go in and talk about your Fraggle Rock line that is continuing, and that I have had the very great pleasure and privilege to do a little previewing of this second wave. But I always love to hear, and I think it's valuable to hear kind of thoughts from your perspective as, the designer and the producer of such things. So I will try to keep the Fraggle fanboy down, a little bit while we talk about, the ins and outs of what I must say is a really, really strong wave.
Oh, well, thank you. We're very excited about it.
We started with series one, which, I've got to say that if we're talking about that core Fraggle team, it really made sense for Gobo and Red to kind of lead the line in terms of coming out. But then series two, it was boom, boom, boom. We've got Moki, Wembley, and my personal favorite, Boober, finishing off that core team, as well as Sprocket, which is a really, really cool, figure to add to the line. So I figure if you don't mind, let's just go through each one of these individually. And because he's kind of the first one that I picked up, how about we start with Gobo's best pal? And it's like, you can't have, to me, one without the other, with Wembley.
Yeah. Wembley was a really fun one. Yeah. In part because they had that great episode about the contaminated, and it was sort of a thread going through the season, the contaminated doozer sticks.
Yes.
Play off of a little. And but he's so expressive, and so one of the little things that we did that may not be immediately obvious on the figure is you can actually swap the hairs between the different expression heads, and you can swap out the eyes as well.
I was coming to the end of how many pictures Instagram would let me post with all of the different combinations that you can get with that. I think that that's an awesome detail you guys added here.
Yeah. We're pretty happy with how that turned out. So
and that sidelong look of a slightly worried Wembley is just about perfect for the character, I think. But talking about the construction too, I was really, really pleased, and this goes for the whole series with how nice all the joints are on this wave, nice and strong like the first one. But there's just a smoothness, I think, to series two that as it goes back and forth when you're developing a line. I'm sure that's something that you built off of since the first series.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of inside baseball is Fraggle Wave 1 and Fraggle Wave 2 were each done at a different factory. And so it was interesting to see the strengths of the two different factories and where they needed a little more help. And that can represent a little bit of a challenge when your expectations have to adjust. But yeah, we're pretty pleased with where the Fraggles are going, and we have a third wave, on the way.
Oh, great! Because it's like we get the new stuff, and from that collector mindset, it's always what's next. So that's going to be fun, I bet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, when talking about a line like this, and I like to use Wembley as the example here because, as you said, he is so expressive. Is it the opportunity just based off of the characters themselves and kind of how they're constructed when you're given the chance to do things like swappable eyes, which is not something that's common in action figures, but it really does add a lot to the expressiveness of these figures.
Yeah, yeah, and as you said, the sort of basic puppety construction of them really lends itself to some interesting features like that. And an approximately 5-inch figure, in most cases, it would be hard to do interchangeable eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we kind of talked about this too. And I think in series 2, especially with Wembley and Moki, because it shows off really well, and I'll get her in a second, is that we talked about the materials that are used, like for the Fraggles hair and whatnot, and having that wispy quality to it, because they're feathers, right? Is
Yeah,
that right on some
I
of them?
believe they're ostrich feathers for the most part.
Which is amazing. But I noticed on these is that you guys brought you heighten that even more with some of the paint applications, and there's almost a shimmery paint application on the hair on Wembley, especially. It's like when the light catches it in these great ways. So it's like, yeah. I recalled that conversation when I opened him. I was like, wow, they're bringing that forward here.
Yeah, well, that's all down to our great model master and color master, Eric Ridlon. For Wembley, he picked like a secondary tone of a green that's very subtly different from the base yellow, and I think that worked out beautifully.
Yeah, and it's Gobo's always kind of the straight man in the relationship between these two, and the fact that he can have that kind of leader persona, and that kind of the rock of a friend, while Wembley gets to be slightly neurotic and expressive. I think these two standing next to each other on the shelf is something that I'm not alone in saying I've been waiting a long time to be able to do. So it's pretty great, man. It's pretty great.
Well, as big Fraggle fans ourselves, we were thrilled to make them and thrilled to provide that. And our partners at Henson are, as always, have been great with the help there and making sure we get things right. So yeah, that's
fantastic, and it's my favorite Fraggles in this wave, and we'll get to it, but there's just something about having Wembley and Gobo together. So I just think that's really exciting, it's because they've been friends in the original show, and it's they share that same friendship in Back to the Rock, which is kind of that's what these are kind of marketed under, right? It's on the boxes, and we're talking about that for these first couple of series, and I think no figure kind of brings that out in better detail than, I would say, the Fraggle who has had the biggest makeover or glow up in the parlance of these times than Moki, who is I was not surprised that she's an awesome figure, but I was surprised with like how much I have enjoyed posing her in all the options that she has, because there's some really fun ones here.
Yeah, Moki, the new design is really fun. I know, it is somewhat divisive among fans, but Back to the Rock
and things always are, right?
Yep. Back to the Rock, man. It is a wonderful show. It is so right in line with the spirit of the original, and in some ways, I think outdoes aspects of the original. It's just a beautiful show, and the new Moki design is beautiful, and we were thrilled to work on it, and we even used a special process to get the printing on her dress. She's got this sort of subtle, almost tie-dyed.
I was gonna say, it looks tie-dyed to me, man.
Yeah.
She's gone from kind of that here's that like somewhat crazy aunt to the cool aunt who is like she's like calm and she's cool, and you can talk to her about anything. And I really love the, we talked swappable eyes and on Wembley, but that's where it really comes home with Moki, where you can do her, meditative with the hands and the closed eyes too, which is really, really fun.
Yeah.
So she's the tallest of the Fraggles, and she's also got this big hair piece that is swappable between the 3 different heads that she comes with. But I'm really, really impressed with if you could see the bottom of my desk here, her balance is great. I was like, oh, she's going to be a little back heavy, but not at all.
Yeah, it's always a tricky problem, but we do what we can to core out the parts as much as possible so you can still have some pretty good balance there.
Yeah. No. Well, I think that the key or the necklace with the crystals and whatnot. It's like I just feel like this design of Moki gave the character, I don't want to say some focus that she needed, but definitely brought through some character traits that makes her, as strong in characterization as the other 4 main Fraggles, which I think she was kind of maybe more not in the background, but just not as stated as such in the original show. So I'm with you with some of those things with the new show doing really, really well, even beyond what the original brought us.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun because there are a lot of options for these figures, but I've just got it in my head since I think your announcement of this series, where we knew that everybody was going to come with their musical instruments, and it's like, on the shelf, I've really got to go in that direction. But it's really hard for me to also be like, I think I might need another Moki to just have and put her on my desk. It's like the Serenity now, and while I'm at work, it's like this is what I need to have for to be able to refer to in those moments where I need it the most.
yeah, and it was interesting. Moki's flute, wind instrument. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was one of the rare things that there wasn't a lot of reference on. It mainly appears in a few like posed photos, and so we tried real hard to get all the details right, and fingers crossed that everyone is satisfied with that piece.
Well, to your credit on that, because I had to go out and look for, I think probably some of those posed photos that you were talking about, because when these arrived, it was so cold, and it's like I had to bring the box in the house and let everything just kind of warm up for a while. I was like, oh, it's cold out there, but it looks like the neck of the flute got twisted and warped a little bit, maybe in the packaging. No, that's how it's supposed to be. And I, checking on that, I was like, I'm really appreciative of little details like that come through, because even if I probably would have looked at it 10 times, it may not have clicked with me that that's how it is, but it's great to have it like this. So kudos to you guys for having the keen eye on that.
Well, and it's such a testament to the original designers of the puppets and the props, that there's so much interesting stuff that's so uniquely Fraggle. You would never see the exact same thing somewhere else. It's very, very Fraggle.
Well, and even towards the character, it's like just sitting here talking about it, it jumps in my head. It's like, it probably doesn't make sense that Moki has something that's really geometric, in form, like straight lines and whatnot. It doesn't really fit with her character as well. So even little details like that, it's like that's wholly Fraggle and very Moki at the same time. So cool stuff. Well, I'm excited for Wembley and Moki, and I'm so glad they're here. But Boober's my guy, man. As much as I can't stand doing laundry, Boober, for some reason, he's just, he clicked with me even as a kid right away. And credit to Henson, and everyone. It's like it was easy to click with the Fraggle. And he spoke to me from the very beginning.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to identify with there, and we were really excited to be able to include the swappable lit up tail tip.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
that
Because I've got one and you've got the other right now.
that aspect in that episode is so powerful and so important.
Yeah.
And so to be able to include that was real exciting. And yeah, a couple other points of interest. He does have sort of a subtle airbrush gradient on the scarf there.
Yeah.
And he's got a real nice texture on the hat. Our sculpt team just absolutely destroyed on this one. It's so beautiful.
It looks weathered and beat up in the best ways, and it's great because he's smaller than the rest of them, just like he should be. And it's, for the longest time, really the only Boober item that I owned was probably the same one that a lot of people owned, was the pickle car from the McDonald's. And he was but a passenger in that car, and now his own figure with so many accessories, which I'll talk about, which we can talk about here in a second. But he also includes 3 heads, and for a character whose eyes are hidden from view, it's pretty impressive that he's probably the most expressive of all of the Fraggle figures that you guys have done so far. That nose brought back expression, which is 100% Boober. It's like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's all down to our amazing sculpt team and the design partner that did a lot of these on the outside, Indigo Kelly. He's a wonderful partner to work with, especially on Fraggle, because he's a big fan, and he really picked out some great stuff to be able to go for. So
I'm becoming more and more self-aware that I probably make that expression multiple times a day. So again, it's like, now I'm going to be needing not only a Moki for my desk, but also a Boober, just like depending on what time of the day or whom I'm talking to is going to require. But aside from, the swappable parts that he, has in common with all the rest of them, it's like, he also kind of comes with the king's ransom of accessories.
We sort of saw a chance to make some really cool stuff that almost diorama pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's got the big pot, and he's got my favorite is the laundry line, which you can put a couple thumbtacks through there and
I was going to say, I have those clear command hooks that it's like, that's going in the corner of the display over there as soon as I get them.
Yeah. And the laundry basket.
When your hobbies include cooking in a giant pot and doing lots of laundry, you can't really go with small accessories to help build that out. So it was like, man, there's a lot that comes with him, which is great. And to your point that they're not only great character specific accessories, but it kind of helps build the world out a little bit too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope when everybody starts getting theirs, and they're due in very soon to ship to pre-order customers. I hope when everybody starts getting theirs, they feel all the love that went into these, and man, I can't wait to see people's displays, and hopefully some people will make some Fraggle Cave dioramas out of foam. The sort of thing that I would love to do, but I don't have the time to do. It would be great.
Yeah, I'm considering some overhauling of some of the display spaces here, and having a full-blown Palisades Muppet collection. It's like, it feels like I need to start extending that, because they have some diorama pieces and whatnot. It's like, to your point, building a small version of the Rock would be a lot of fun to do. So don't think that it's not something that I'm not considering as soon as I get the time to do it.
On a side note, how are you handling all the different Sesame Street lines we're being hit with right now?
That's a good question, because it's all got to go together. Because I mean, it's a hell of a time to be a Jim Henson fan, as far as action figures go. So being able to have really, for the most part, three congruent lines now that are going to go together. That's what I'm really thinking out. And it's like, I got to talk to Trevor and some of the guys this weekend and be like, how are you guys going to like reskin your street scene dioramas to be, Sesame Street with that? And then if that's the case, it's like, oh, okay, now Fraggle Rock's like maybe peeking out from the back or underneath it or something, and reset the geography a little bit to fit the display.
I'm so torn because they're all so good. The reaction ones are great from Super 7.
Yeah.
The NECA ones are amazing. Then the NECA's got the Toonie ones as well. And then Rockies. Have you gotten the Rockies yet?
I have not, because I need to find them, because I'm going to admit I'm really the first wave. It's like Cookie Monster and Big Bird are probably the two that I'm after. And it's like, I can't find them outside of a set right now, but I can't wait to get them because they look amazing.
Do not sleep on the Elmo and Zoe.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Elmo's, we may want to cut this out, but Elmo's, it's so cool. Elmo's got this like ABS backpack that opens on a hinge. And then he's got a book that opens on a hinge as well. It's so cool. And then Zoe, she comes with a couple little suction cups you can position different places on her. So you could like suction her to a window, like flying.
What? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that. You've fully enabled me now on so now I can go out and buy that set and not feel like I'm like, well, I'm not sure if I want to get the other two. So yeah. So here we go. But you're right. It's like I've got reaction on my desk because that's easy to do. But being able to have the Ultimates, these Fraggles, and the the Deer Palisades Muppets line. I mean, this is a big deal for me, man, and a lot of people. So it's really, really great. And having these is such an integral part of that. It just makes me happy because I grew up I was a little late to the Muppet Show, so I didn't get into, I was not alive for the most part when the Muppet Show was on. So I came to that a little bit late, but I grew up on Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock, I think pretty evenly. So it's a good time, like I said, to be a Henson fan, and I love having the problem of how am I going to display all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that brings us to the final figure in this wave, and it's not a departure because you've done different, between the Doozers and the Fraggles, you guys have done, some different forms and whatnot, but an integral picture, like the outside window into Fraggle Rock is, of course, Sprocket. And man, what a fun figure this is. And much like we've been talking about expressiveness, I always thought Sprocket was one of the most expressive Muppets puppets on the show, and you guys are pulling it all through to the figure too. Yeah,
no, I mean, could not be happier with how Sprocket turned out, and just the articulated jaw and the ears and the eyebrows, super thrilled that all worked. And
that alone just gives him so much potential. I mean, you can fit him into whatever situation you're building on your shelf, right?
Absolutely. And the extra neck joints that fenable you to sort of adjust his posture. The team just killed it, and Fred Axon, our head sculptor especially, put a lot of time into Sprocket and getting that fur right and everything. And I think it's just one of the best things Boss Fight has done is this Sprocket figure.
I agree. And I love the anatomical form of a Muppet dog that presents opportunities to have additional articulation points, which you guys just went for it and put them there. that can sometimes lead to, other issues when you have something that's really articulated as far as that goes. But one of the things that I'm extremely impressed with is that not only are those joints strong, but the way that he's balanced and the way that you guys did his feet pause in a way. I mean, he can stand up, he can sit. It's like no issue display. It's like it's so easy to do.
Yeah. Just so fantastic. It's so satisfying working on this one, and at the last minute we got some special reference direct from Johnny Tartaglia on the collar. Because we had I think we had gotten some collar details wrong, and he literally like pulled out the puppet and photographed it for us.
Wow. That's I mean, again, you're talking like you mentioned inside baseball before, but I think that's something, you mentioning that is something that maybe people kind of like realize it but don't realize they're realizing it, is like the importance of that, having a great licensor partner to work with on stuff like that. That's invaluable to me, and it seems like every real line that I've like ever really fallen in love with has had that relationship, right? So that's got to be great from a design and producer perspective, right? To have that.
Yeah. To they care, they know all the lore, they can access most of the puppets and props if we really need them to. So not many companies you might work with can do that.
Yeah. Well, I love Series 1, but man, I think Series 2 is I love it because of the variety, because it's got my favorite character. It's got freaking Sprocket in it. It just shows like the growth of the line too. That really like starts to set off for, people who are like hardcore fans. It's like, gosh, so many possibilities. So it's good to hear that you guys are, in development on future waves. But now that you for a lot of lines, when you get the core team out, it's like the question is, okay, now what do we do next? How has that kind of been from like a planning and a thought exercise standpoint for you guys now that you're at that point?
It can be tricky. Because you want to there's so many different ways you can balance a product lineup, just visually, or in terms of like, oh, is this an A character, is this a B character, but the upside is I think there are no wrong choices with Fraggle.
I would agree.
It's so much fun, and if the sales are there, we'd love to really keep going into the future. So I hope people turn out, and if they haven't pre-ordered it, buy them when they come into stock, which should be shortly. And it's real important to vote with your dollars.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know a lot of people, and it goes back to like the completion of the team, with the initial wave. It's like sometimes people are kind of wait and see. It's like, okay, are we going to get the full, crew and whatnot? And now that that's proven out, I wanted to make sure that I, went and found, it's like, obviously this wave can be pre-ordered at, directly from you guys at Boss Fight Shop, and from some of our friends like Big Bad Toy Store. But Series 1 is also still available to get, so you can pull the whole collection together real fast, and it's a lot of fun, not only on its own, but kind of as we talked about within kind of a larger collection space too.
Absolutely, and we want to be able to give you guys the deep lineup that I'm sure everybody craves and wants. Everybody's got their favorite random background guy. Somewhere out there's someone who's like, I need the ink spots. But yeah, and I'm gonna show you the little teaser for Wave 3.
Okay.
Adjust your expectations, but this is a test shot of the Wave 2 Moki with an early pattern for the robe.
Wow.
This is a pattern for the soft goods robe. This is, of course, not the final color.
Sure.
But yeah, and we're still working, but this is somewhat representative. Obviously, the Moki figure in the robe will be different and will match the original series puppet. But
Right.
but yeah, there's something to look forward to.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Number one, that's amazing, and it really kind of opened, because it's like you don't want to like talk about hypotheticals in too much detail and whatnot, but it's cool to get a preview, but also answers that question that it was like, an original series Moki, you're really going to have to go with soft goods on that robe.
Yeah. We didn't want to provide a figure that was sort of just locked in a pose or whatever. So yeah, we got a beautiful soft goods pattern, and can't wait to see her and the rest of Wave 3 go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you and you can answer this question with a no. Do you have idea of when you would think you would start, revealing that, or is that just not quite set yet?
Not quite set yet. We need people to get their Wave 2 in hand. And let us know how they like it, and want to see everybody talk about it. We're juggling a lot of projects right now. We're a small team, juggling a lot of projects, but yeah, we will find the time to put Fraggle Wave 3 out, reveal it, and put it out there for pre-order.
Well, I cannot wait for that, and I think I've pretty much given all the nice people who follow me on social media. That's like, if you're not into Fraggle Rock and Sesame Street and I guess Mega Man right now, I'm not going to have a whole lot more for you. So I'm definitely not going to be shutting up about it. So I can't wait for, like you said, for people to start getting these in hands, just because I love to see the even just the pictures of the people who have the time and the ability to make like cool pictures out there on Instagram and whatnot, and these figures really lend themselves to that. So if you have been on the fence about these, I would strongly recommend adding these guys to your collection, because they're just way too much fun.
Thank you.
So I am going to enjoy the what out of these. I'm going to be in high anticipation for Series 3 when that is revealed. But as you mentioned, you guys have a lot of other stuff going on right now, and even just I'm sure you're speaking of stuff that we know about, and of course that we don't know about. But you guys have a lot of stuff that is coming close to release too. I think, and I've got my list here to go through, because Red Sonja is about as different from Fraggles as you can get. But man, I'm excited for this one too, and she's getting close, right? Wow.
So there we go. There she is in the box.
That's a very, very nice display box there. Yeah. Shows everything off nicely.
All the accessories down there. Our package designer Dave Veebs did an amazing job with this, and I want to give a shout out to Chris Oliveri, who took a project I started and ran with it, and there's been a lot of ups and downs getting it here, but the final product is beautiful.
Awesome. So that final product has she left the factory yet? Getting close? Do you know?
Yeah, she is on the way. And I believe the exclusive hasn't left yet, but it should be soon. The diamond one, the black, white, red deco, and man, I gotta say, you need them both.
Yeah,
that exclusive diamond deco is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because she kind of fits in with that barbarian corner of my collection that I have, that it's a little more free form. It's like, oh yeah, Conan and Red Sonja and all these other characters can go together too, and it's just like I've been waiting a long time to have some good representation of her there. So I'm definitely excited for that figure.
Yeah, and as a side note, she is part of our Epic Hacks system.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have a ton of interchangeable parts on Sonja herself, but as we build out Epic Hacks, you'll be able to do more with her if such is your inclination. And she is also scaled right at the line where she displays beautifully with other popular 1/12 lines. Everybody needs a red Sonja in their collection, and we're real pleased. She's been a big seller for us.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, and I can't wait to get her not only for the figure, but as you said, like being part of the Epic Hack system is going to be exciting for a lot of reasons that I'm sure you guys are really getting into. But it's that's my scale, and I love it, and I love being able to bring lines together, and I think there are a lot of cool possibilities. So can't wait to see the future beyond that too. But I'm very excited to get her, and I'm glad to hear that she's on the water. Another line that I have been a big fan of since it was first announced, and I know is near and dear to your heart, but Popeye Series 3 is getting close too, right?
Yep. Those are on the way as well. Wow. And I'm just shuffling all the but yeah, Popeye Series 3.
Yeah.
June. We got beautiful Steven DeStefano art on each figure, new art. We had other Popeye luminary, Roger Langridge, write the bios.
Wow.
So we are real excited about Popeye Wave 3. And it is just, that series is a dream come true, because we're getting to some real background players like Tor and the Goon.
I was going to say any wave that has Tor, the Goon, and Roughhouse in it is a winner already. So, man, I'm excited.
Plus 2 versions of the first appearance 1929 Popeye.
Yeah.
So it is a killer wave, and they turned out great.
Well, like I said, I am waiting anxiously for those, because I've got everything from Popeye so far, and it's one of those properties that it's like, and the figures that you guys have made, it just makes for such an interesting and cool looking display. It's one of my favorite spots to catch my eye randomly throughout the day in my space. So man, kudos to this series, but also the full line that you're building now, because it's already really impressive with some really great characters who have never had figures before.
Absolutely, and it's tremendously gratifying to be able to do that. And guys, I haven't seen any Sweet Haven dioramas yet. Somebody's got to get working on a beautiful Sweet Haven diorama.
I know. I'm with you. It's like I want to take a trip to Malta just to take these figures with me and go to the remains of the movie set too, right? Oh, well, so yes, that one's been high on my list for a long time, so I'm glad to hear that they are on their way as well. Now, another line that you guys are doing, which has turned out to be, one of the most fun lines for me personally, because I get to share it a little bit more with, I have 3 daughters, and a lot of the stuff in my collection doesn't really interest them a whole lot. They're into a few things, but man, I feel bad because my strawberry shortcake display in here is always like, I don't want to say in ruins, but it's never set up nicely, because little hands come down here and we play for a long time with those figures, because my kids absolutely love them. I love them too. But Strawberry Shortcake Series 2 and the villains are getting close too, right?
Yeah, we got some big developments on Strawberry Shortcake. So Series 2 with 4 more of the kids. I'm sure everybody has a favorite in there.
I was gonna say my littlest favorite color is blue, so she is asking me like every day, when's blueberry? Like soon,
yes.
babe.
Yes, blueberry is in that wave. Raspberry, lemon, and
Apple dumpling.
Apple dumpling, the little one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is an incredible wave, and we've got the villains, which are also on the way on the same timeline. So many containers on the water. It's very nerve-wracking these days with the shipping situation. But yeah, oh man, the villains, so good. Just beautiful figures, and these big lanky bodies on Pie Man and Sour Grapes, and they've got such great accessories. So we're real excited about those, and about the future of Strawberry. If people occasionally patronize a Cracker Barrel restaurant near them, the store, soon, if they're not already, they will have special versions of our Strawberry Shortcake figures in the Cracker Barrel stores, among the various, nostalgic toys and stuff like that. So we're very excited to have that coming. And
what's crazy is that Cracker Barrel is like the place that is like midway between my house and my in-laws' house, that if we're like handing kids off, that's like where we like stop. So I can't wait to be on the lookout for that. That's amazing. Special decos there. That's great.
Well, they're not decos, they're special pack outs.
Okay.
And so they've got a slimmer box with fewer accessories. They're very nice looking. And then the strawberry version in that is one we had racked up for a while, and we're looking for an opportunity to use. She's got a different hairstyle. It's kind of a more yarn looking hairstyle, like some of the original art.
Yeah.
And so we're real excited to finally have a chance to get that out there with our partners at Cracker Barrel. It's be on the lookout. I don't know officially when they're going to hit the stores, but it should be soon.
Wow, that's a lot of fun. Being able to like go to, I guess, a place that you don't normally go to look for toys and seeing that's always a thrill for me. And I will say the Purple Pie Man, I think that dude is one of the most underrated 80s villains of all time. So I don't care if you're like into Strawberry Shortcake or not. He belongs amongst the ranks of the baddest of the baddies from the 80s, no matter what you're into.
Agreed. Purple Pie Man can roll with Mumra any day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are a lot of people in this house, including myself, who are really excited for Strawberry Shortcake Series 2 and the villains. So can't wait for that. But I think the most recent entry into your guys' kind of catalog in terms of stuff that's getting close is one that I'm super excited. I mean, I've said that a lot, but man, I've never had Garfield action figures before. I've had like figurines, but we're getting action figures now. Oh man.
So this is obviously a test shot.
Yeah.
And it has not had the deco applied, but these, we're real excited about these guys. They're turning out great.
Yeah.
And they've got some pretty good articulation for this sort of design, and we are real excited about Garfield here. We think there's tremendous potential going into the future to expand the lineup. There's Normal.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh, I just like being able to see the size difference like in a real space like that is great.
And then here is Odie.
Oh yeah, there's our guy Odie. Wow.
And they all have interchangeable expression pieces for Garfield and Normal. It's like a face plate that interchanges. And for Odie, a bit of a challenge because, as you can see, Odie doesn't really have a lower jaw. So what we did was we actually we made the neck interchangeable.
Oh wow!
This one comes apart, and so you'll have different mouths that'll pop into the body and then pop into the head.
So I love Odie to death, man, but never in my life would I have thought he's a character that's going to present some interesting design challenges that we're going to have to solve for in a unique way. And that's the type of story that I love hearing, because I think oftentimes that stuff just gets taken for granted. It's like, you got to think through how you can make Odie have different expressions with no lower jaw, essentially.
Yep. So thrilled that we were able to find a way to make that one work out. And man, we've got some real strong stuff cooking for Garfield. Of course, we also have the 1-to-1 Garfield, who is gigantic. And they just took my sample to take it to New York. We only have
I'll get to see it in a few days then.
But it's so cool. So it's this giant rotocast figure. It's like 19, 20 inches tall, and the head's on this big ball joint, and you can sort of adjust that, and the tail's on a ball joint. It is so cool, and everybody needs one in their home. As far as I'm concerned.
My oldest daughter and my youngest daughter, we're all horribly allergic to cats, but my two littlest absolutely love cats. And I'm like, you know what? I think I got a cat that we're going to be able to have in this house, because it's like, I don't have anything against cats, guys. I love cats, but they just make me like not breathe. So that's going to be the story that I'm going to give to them, to have, a 1-to-1 scale Garfield in my house, because that's awesome.
I think it's as good an excuse as any.
So Garfield is a little bit after like the rest of the stuff, or in terms of like shipment time?
It's proceeding well. It's coming close behind all those other projects, but yeah, we should be seeing some more finalized samples real soon. We've got deco samples already on the way. We've already seen one stage of deco samples, and the packaging is nearly there. Super cool. Our partners at Paramount have been great to work with on that. And I promise you turn up and you buy the Garfield stuff, and you buy deep on it, you are going to get exactly all the guys you want, because our lineup in the future is killer.
Oh, that's awesome. I introduced the girls to the Garfield Christmas special for the first time this year, and they took to it as much as I did as a kid. So that's another one that I think that is going to be popular, not just in my space, but in theirs as well, in this house. So and that to me is what makes stuff like this so much fun, is when you can share it with people. So I appreciate lines like that so much. And like I said, the fact that it's like, I've got a few Garfield figures here and there, but never killer action figures, man. So I can't wait. So exciting stuff. So much.
And that is not to mention the 3 new licenses that we can't talk about yet.
Ooh.
And, all sorts of amazing stuff going on here at Boss Fight. And the office phone is ringing for some reason.
Well, I think that's a good sign, because anytime we can talk through Fraggle Rock, Red Sonja, Strawberry Shortcake, Popeye, and Garfield, like all in the same conversation, I think that just shows you got a good thing going, man. So I love these. So everyone be ready. Fraggle Rock Series 2 is going to be hitting soon. Fraggle Rock Series 1 is still available out there. So much more stuff coming soon. You guys are going to have some representation at Toy Fair, so we'll drop by and see that this coming weekend. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk about this cool stuff. And Zork. I forgot. I'm sorry. Those are hitting everybody's piles of loots and things like that now, as well. So I've seen some really cool pictures of those. My bud Matthew K, who never disappoints when it comes to taking photographs. He's taken some really cool ones so far, with I think more to come. So another super fun line that is your own brand, which makes that even more fun, I think. So well, Andrew, thank you so much. I can't wait for everybody to get these in hands. I can't wait to get everything else in hand and see what's next. And hopefully the time will present itself where we'll get to chat again about some cool stuff. All right.
Anytime, Nick.
All right. Well, keep up the good work. Like I said, can't wait to see what's next, and we'll be chatting again soon. All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. Till next time.
Thanks, folks.